G'day and welcome to Kenty Blitz, your daily hit of NRL news. This Friday, the Storm play the Sharks, and then on Sunday, the Broncos play the Panthers. And as the games get closer, the storylines are getting tighter, Kenty.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting, isn't it? I want to ask you something before we get going today, Woz. How did you think Nicho Hynes went on the weekend?
I thought he played well.
Played well, didn't he? Fair chance without him, Cronulla don't get through, isn't it? Fair chance we can say that, can we?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. How do you think Marcelo Montoya went on the weekend?
What the fuck are you getting at?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm getting at. Wasn't the reason that Nicho's suspension was downgraded because the injury for Montoya wasn't as serious as we all thought?
Right.
See, this is I know I've been banging on about the integrity of the game. I just wanted to just bring this up. Montoya, injury is not as serious as we thought. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's downgrade it to a grade 1, therefore he can play on the weekend. Montoya, all of a sudden, he doesn't play that. Mm. So how bad is that injury? This is where we go back to that period in the game, back many, many years ago. Clubs used to do deals with each other at judiciary. We'll look after you. We'll get our guy to go and give a statement and say there's not too much to it. This is why the NRL should not have taken that revised statement from the Bulldogs about Montoya's injury. He didn't play on the weekend. We were led to believe it wasn't as serious, so there was some thought that maybe he might play or whatever. But the fact is, the game, the way this can operate in the back rooms, I just think it's a really good example of not being able to go down this road where clubs are able to influence judicial hearings and match review penalties and all the rest of it. So that's just my little gripe for the week. Am I allowed to have one of those?
Well, yeah, certainly. We don't normally restrict you to one, so but we are only at Wednesday, so we do have 2 shows to go. Yeah, okay. I didn't know where you were going there, Kenty.
No, I can see you're a bit confused. I was having a chat about it today with one of my mates, and we just thought, like there was all this hullabaloo about it. Okay, and the Bulldogs came in, and good guys, the Bulldogs. We'll give you our doctor's report. It's not as serious as we first thought. Okay, downgrade it. Nicho now plays. What are the odds, you reckon, down the line somewhere where Cronulla might repay a favour to Canterbury? Do you think it'll happen?
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Interesting, Kenty, interesting. Just for all the viewers, I had a big night, so I'm very slow today, but I'm pushing through. As Kenty told me, you need to play hurt. And he's done that a few times this season, so now it's my turn. Let's talk about Cronulla and how do they take the fight to Hughes, because Jerome Hughes has been named.
Jerome Hughes named. Look, the whole emphasis for the Sharks now will be, let's get to Jerome Hughes, let's test him out, and as bad as it sort of sounds, because you don't want to go out and intentionally hurt someone, but they're going to go out and try and intentionally hurt him. The interesting thing I think for Hughes is when he dislocated his shoulder, from memory it was the right shoulder he dislocated. Okay. Then he came back. Just into his first game back, he's broken his arm. He's then gone and got surgery on that, plates and screws put in, but that was the left arm. So it doesn't matter which side they're going to run. This young man's going to be in pain this week. Yeah, they're going to find him, and I think. Look, he's not over the line yet as far as starting. Melbourne certainly want him to start. I think that their mindset is if he's going to play the grand final, he needs to play this week, which is why they'll be insisting that he does everything that's required to play this week. And if he's available, he will play. But Cronulla will go looking for him. They will try and bust him up. They will try and run at that shoulder. They will try and bump into the arm. And there's going to be a lot of work put around how they get to him. Now, clearly they don't want to go too far away from what they do in their own game plan. But those forwards that are going to be getting the ball, they're going to be looking for him. The flip side is, what did Melbourne do? Melbourne, I think they're going to try and hide him a little bit. I think you'll go back to kind of like Cooper Cronk, the 2019 grand final, where 2018 grand final, where he was hiding away with his busted shoulder. I think Hughes is going to be in a very similar spot. I think he'll spend much of the game this week hiding defensively, not obviously because of his courage, but just to try and put as little or have as little impact through that shoulder and that arm as he can to get through the game okay.
Well, Kenty, not so long ago, we just came off the primetime set, which comes out tomorrow morning, and you had Blake Steep and Hugo Savala on it, and they spoke a little bit about that. Don't give away the show, but let's talk a little bit about what they said.
Well, they're similar mindsets. That it's going to be a big test for him, and it's going to be a test for Cronulla to try and find him. So look, this is part of the chess that gets played at that level in the game these days. I remember when I played as a kid and whatnot, you just went out and played. You got the ball, you looked up. If you saw a hole, you ran. If not, you passed the ball. And that's the way so many people think about the game. But they are so precise about what they do. They're precise about the lines they run, where the shape that they're in, the guys that they run at. They're very good at identifying and finding weaknesses in defences. And that'll happen this week. Cronulla will try and find Jerome Hughes. It's going to be a real battle from Jerome Hughes trying to stay out of trouble and Cronulla trying to keep him in trouble. So, and Steep and Savala, I tell you what, it's fascinating talking to the young guys just about how, and just to see how much more they think about the game and how they think about the game. And Steep plays in the middle often, and even him. It's just there's a completely different mindset there from the old school rugby league days.
Yeah, they definitely know what they're talking about. That drops tomorrow at 6. Let's talk about Cronulla, who are talking themselves up. Probably shows that they're in a different mindset, right?
Yeah, I like the way that they're talking about it. Fanua Blake's just basically come out and said, he's afraid of nobody. Back page story today, and I just like the energy around Cronulla. I really do. Like I think as far as look, we haven't seen a lot out of Melbourne. Haven't heard a lot out of Melbourne either, but the Cronulla psyche at the moment is really healthy. It's a real positive energy. It's an aggression. It's a belief in themselves. And I've got no doubts that, while most people are tipping a Melbourne win, I think it's going to be a lot tougher than people think. Yeah. It's funny, you want to go to the StatMate. We'll give you, from our friends at StatMate, Melbourne this week have got their spine back, okay? They've got Harry Grant, Jerome Hughes, Ryan Pappenhausen and Cameron Munster playing in the Storm spine. 8 times this year, which is staggering really, only 8 times this year that they've played together, all 4 of them in the team. Melbourne have won 7 of those 8 games, which really tips the scales heavily in favour of Melbourne. And the one loss was against Cronulla.
There you go.
So there you go. So, and that was, if you remember, that was back at Shark Park, round 11 was it?
Yeah.
Round 11, yeah. And Cronulla really took it to them. And that was the first, I think that was the first indication of what Cronulla were capable of. Took a little while to get back there again, to be fair. But, I'm pretty excited about what Cronulla can do this week. I'm looking forward to it.
Reece Walsh was asked how he's going to deal with the Panthers on the weekend, and he came up with an interesting response.
Yeah, someone said to me, it's Cleary, actually. How are you going to deal with Cleary? He said, how's he going to deal with us? Yeah. And, again, I like the confidence. Reece Walsh is look, we all already know he's a highly confident player, tremendous self-belief. But he's just put it together in recent weeks where the great things are coming out, but the poor decisions he's basically put them away, and his ability to just focus down on that and get the Broncos going, I think, has been a real catalyst for their change.
It's interesting though, Kenty. Like if the stuff he did in those last 15 minutes, everything came off. And I was thinking to myself, well, what if they didn't come off and everybody would be saying, well, he's pushing himself or pushing the pass, et cetera, et cetera. So that, the fraction difference between succeeding and,
Yeah, but that's always the case with Reece Walsh. It's a very fine line between the diamonds and rocks that we speak about, okay? But what he's doing, but the elite players are the ones who are able to make those decisions. And that's what's happening with this guy. Sometimes you get in a vein of form where it just starts to work for you, and momentum creates momentum, so to speak. And Reece Walsh is going through that period. He spoke about that game against Canberra. They were down by 16 points with 14 to play and pretty much looked over. Now, Canberra, I think, kind of stopped playing a little bit. But Walsh said how the talk on the field was, and I dare suspect most of it was driven by him, was, you know what, let's just have a crack and see what we can do. That's certainly how he played. He just I'm going to leave nothing on the paddock. I'm going to go out 40-20s, try assists, scored his own try.
Yep.
He just went after the Raiders. And sometimes if you just uncomplicate your thinking and you just get into that stage where you're just reacting, and rather than actually thinking your way through the game, that's when it all just tends to flow, and basically all that training and instinct and all that foundation that you've put into your game just begins to flow. That's where he's at. He's in that form at the moment.
Yeah, and hats off to Madge Maguire, because you often hear players talking about confidence and the difference between when they succeed is when they're full of confidence, and when they don't succeed or try things. Yeah, like Reece Walsh is trying things at the moment because he's full of confidence, and a lot of that comes from coaching. Yeah,
great coaching, positive energy.
Yep.
You know, I'm not a big believer in all that sort of.
I'm a jumbo.
Well, you know, I don't go out and buy crystals and leave them in my room to get full of energy. But I do believe that when you are mentally in good places and you begin to just build on that, one thing will build into another, and I think that's where he's at. And certainly, he's playing his football that way. He's playing football like a guy who's not thinking about his football. That's my one concern this week for Brisbane, is that with Adam Reynolds and Ben Hunt now in the halves, the shift that they've had there, how much does that sort of just have a little bit of friction to it? And not from the point of view of friction between the players, more the point of view of having to think their way through the game rather than react their way through the game.
Yep.
Every athlete, no matter where they're at, they want to get to the stage where when they're in the moment, they're reacting. And that's where the Broncos, I think, found themselves in that last 30 minutes of that game, taking in also the extra time period. That's where they found themselves. Now, though, Reynolds is back there. Hunt's playing 5'8" instead of halfback. Ezra Mann's going to come off the bench. Again, he can be lightning, but is there going to be a time where Reece Walsh wants the ball and Ezra Mann also wants the ball?
Yep.
Whereas last time they played, well, it was Walsh's ball.
Yep.
Whereas now, whose ball is it? Those sort of little things can get in the way a little bit. But certainly, if you're like Maguire's done a great job. Like he's got those guys back to where I think he would have anticipated they would have been at the beginning of the season. He's copped a lot of grief over the course of the season. And yeah, I don't believe he's changed. I don't believe the players have changed. I believe that they've basically just got to. It's taken some time to get there, but they've got to where the coach always anticipated they'd be.
It's interesting. He's really elevated himself as one of the great coaches now in the game. And another great coach who your mate Bulldog Richie says that if Cleary wins a premiership in his article today, that he'll be the best ever.
Yeah, it's a fascinating argument. Look, I don't agree with it, okay, but it's a really, like from a newspaper story, it's a really good story the Bulldog wrote. So his argument is, if Penrith win, it'll be their 5th successive grand final win, their 6th overall, which they began back in, 2020. And his argument is that just will indisputably make Cleary the best coach ever. And his argument for that is the fact that Cleary is doing what he's doing now in the salary cap era. And as opposed to, for example, the great St. George side of 1956 to 1966, which won 11 in a row, he's doing it with a salary cap which they never had to tolerate. So that's a valid point. Does it make him the best coach ever? I look at it this way. I think whether he wins the grand final this year or not, I think Ivan Cleary already has done something that will be chiseled in stone and will be referenced forevermore in rugby league. We will, in 20 years' time, people will be going back and looking at this era of that Penrith and what happened there as one of the great teams and clubs of rugby league in any era. As far as
the best
coach ever, I'm not as certain about that.
Let me ask you one thing, Kenty. What happens if Nathan Cleary is removed from the equation? How well do they go?
Well, not as well, but that's irrelevant because he's in the equation.
Yeah, but is his? I guess what I'm trying to ask you is Ivan's coaching based on one player who is the world's best and has been the world's best?
No, I think I think Isaiah Yo's a tremendous player.
Yep.
Look, what Ivan has done, it's a little bit the Melbourne model where he has focused the cap into some players who are non-negotiables. So Jerome Luai came through. They knew they were going to lose him at some point. They planned for him to lose him. They actually had Isaiah Katoa ready to come in behind him until the Dolphins pinched him. Then they had to go out and get Blaze Talangi. Okay, but Nathan's a non-negotiable. They just won't lose him through the cap. Isaiah Yo's a non-negotiable. Okay, I think Dylan Edwards is a non-negotiable. Liam Martin, wouldn't say necessarily non-negotiable, but they'd fight to the death to keep him.
He seems to be their spiritual leader, doesn't he?
Yeah. Now, as far as the argument against that St George side, for example, they had players back then who did come in and out of the team, but they had the same principle. They kept Johnny Raper, they kept Raj Gaznia. Now, Raper didn't play in all 11. Gaznia didn't play in all 11. In fact, no single player played in all 11 of those grand finals. The closest anybody came was Norm Proven, who played in 10. So, and they didn't have the salary cap to deal with. But they did have other clubs who also had no salary cap, who could have gone in and poached them. So to me, that argument sort of counts itself out. You bring in the other great coaches, Jack Gibson. You look at they've all got reasons. Warren Ryan, Jack Gibson, Craig Bellamy, Wayne Bennett. They all have reasons why they could lay claim to be the greatest coach based on whatever you want to look at. Jack Gibson, Jack made coaching important. Jack was the first one to come in, started doing statistics. Jack won with teams that had no right really to win competitions, okay? He got teams to grand finals. He got Newtown to the grand final in, I think it was 1971 or something like that. But he got them to a grand final, St George to a grand final, which had no right to get there. He got... he had great success. You look at Craig Bellamy, 20 years now he's been going, he's still going, made the semi-finals every year in the salary cap era.
Yeah,
the only time he hasn't made
once.
was that when they got disqualified. You look at Wayne Bennett, his ability to continue coaching. He'll hit 1,000 games in a couple of years' time. Hasn't won a comp, Wayne, for nearly 20 years. No, what was it, 2010, was it 15 years now since he's won a competition. But again, magnificent coaching. In many ways has been groundbreaking in what he's done. You look at Warren Ryan, wrote the modern blueprint for the game. Warren Ryan was the scientist of the game. They've all got claims to do it. Ivan's going to put himself, Ivan's already in that, to be fair. Ivan's already in that. When we look back on the coming of time, we'll say what he's done, it's so hard to repeat.
You talk about that great Dragons team, 11 straight. I once asked my old man about what was the difference and what the Dragons did, and he said that every year they brought in the best forward they could get and the best back they could get. And then I look at Melbourne, and they don't bring in the best player, but they bring in a player who they make the best player. It's kind of it's a different world now, but
it is a different world. You've got to do it differently, and that's what Ivan's been able to do. Ivan's been, I think, in some ways, without undermining or discrediting anything he's done, he's been helped by the fact that the junior league out there
is so strong.
It's so strong. They've got so many players that essentially they identify players at a young age, and they look after those players, and they have the money to look after those players and keep them in the system until they get through to a point where they can make a decision and whether the guy's going to make it at Penrith or not just in the NRL. And they say, okay, he'll make it at Penrith, so we'll keep him. He won't make it at Penrith, but another club want him, we'll let him go there, and that's what they do. So he's done the right job for the right time, Ivan.
It's interesting you talk about those Penrith junior systems, and I know a lot of clubs now they pick up players who don't necessarily make the junior rep teams out in that Penrith district, and there's other teams around Sydney who are picking off those junior players. And it gives them an opportunity because
that's what they do, and the Penrith League's so strong that they can do that.
Kenty, let's have your multi for the weekend.
Look, I've had a look at this one. It's a tough one. When you pick your multi, sometimes you've got to be a little bit careful. You don't outsmart yourself, put too many try scorers in. I outsmarted myself last week. I picked Oro and Mulatalo to be try scorers against that Canberra right edge, but put that all up into the Canberra win, which we know how that went. This week, PointsBet have actually got quite a good multi. Pappenhausen to score either the first, second, or third try for the Storm on Friday night into a Storm win, and it's $4.75. I think that's pretty good value actually.
You're on that?
Yeah, I'll be. I'm not on it yet, but I will be.
Very good. Thanks to PointsBet for that. Tip, let's just talk about the Kangaroo Tour because Tino's rejected Samoa and will be on the plane to the Kangaroo Tour.
Yeah, he's made the announcement formally today.
Yep.
I think it's a great result for the Kangaroos.
Good win for Kevy.
Great win for Kevy. And what's fascinating is, look, normally I'd say this Australian team might be a little bit vulnerable with the amount of players who are going to declare their allegiance to the Pacifica nations. And they might be a little bit vulnerable to be beaten by the England team. But the England team's pretty ordinary too, to be honest. So I think they've got a start there. But Tino going there to play for Australia, his father's actually told him he wants him to play for Australia, which I found that quite refreshing. Yeah. That his father came out and did that. And he's going to play for the Kangaroos. And to be fair, mate, they really need him in the middle because with Payne going elsewhere and a couple other guys unavailable.
What about that? And the one going Nita, will he be in there?
I don't know if he will be now.
Okay. I just threw that in so I could prove to people I could pronounce.
Well, there'll still be some disputing it. Would you pick him?
I wouldn't pick him. No, I wouldn't pick him.
It's funny because the argument to it is clearly that, yes, I would have seen him there as a development player, but to develop him for what? To go back to rugby union in a year? No. Yeah. And he won't even be around for the rep season at the end of next season. Yep. So he'll play next season, but I doubt once the Roosters have their last kick in anger next season, that'll be it, and he'll go back to rugby union in preparation for the 27 World Cup. So I wouldn't pick him because the other part to it is if he goes and Jacob Kiraz misses out, well, I think that's really unfortunate for Jacob Kiraz. I think the fact that a guy like him staying in the game deserves to go.
Yep. We Fanatics still have some tickets for that Kangaroo Tour. We've got about 10 for each game, sold out games. Go to thefanatics.com to get over there.
Big game, Savo. What do we like?
Me? I like something a little hot.
Hot? Aren't you cold in there?
Not with the fire flavor of PointsBet. It's like hot sauce, but for sport. Kick's different. Makes the game extra spicy.
Shotgun counts!
Now that's coming in hot.
Fire up your NRL finals with PointsBet. Yeah, that's built different. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Kenty, Ask Kenty. It's Wednesday. It's our favourite time of the week. So I've got a lot of questions. Let's push through them when we can. Dingo Chase, 973. What do you think about Matt Burton as a recruit at fullback for the Wallabies? I don't know why we're asking that question.
Mate,
but
yeah, good. Look, he's got the kicking game for it. Has he played rugby before? Probably as a kid. Yeah. Does he want to go? Maybe. Say definitely not.
ADZM Mac says, do the Broncos old boys have egg on their faces after saying a North Queenslander non-Queenslander, couldn't coach the team?
Yeah, I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. I think that's the Broncos old boys are in danger of becoming a little bit like the Parramatta old boys used to be, where every year we just
rent a quote.
Well, yeah, they become rent a quotes. Nothing was good enough. Yeah, not how we did it in my day. Not your day anymore.
They go to Brett Kenny all the time, don't they? The untalented one. What do you think about walkout songs and clubs should start using them? Imagine the Panthers walking out to Back in Black every home game.
Well, but ACDC, right? They Penrith walk out to Hell's Bells every home game. Already do that. And it's a long, drawn-out, the bell ringing, and off they go, which I quite like, to be honest. A lot of clubs, the Storm come out to Thunderstruck. The Broncos come, the Raiders come out to the Viking Clap. A lot of teams already have their own walkout songs. Yep.
Ivan Bros says, what's your preference, nighttime or daytime grand final?
Daytime.
Aussie Game Dad, and I'm going to say this one, Kadamo, also said, what's going on with the North Queensland Cowboys, or he calls them holiday boys? Players seem to go up there for a holiday up north.
Nah, they're not holiday boys. They're a funny side. They seem to get a little bit fat on their success a bit. The Cowboys have a good year. Things are beautiful, and then the next year's poor.
Let's not forget they came 5th last year and made the game before the grand final, or maybe 1-2 before that. So let's not get carried away with one bad season.
They've had a bad season.
Yeah.
They've had I think a couple of those Origin guys.
What do they need to do? Kadamo says.
I'd put a rocket in a couple of their forwards.
Yeah.
They've got to get a little bit busier, and they've got to get more value for money out of some of their bigger names.
Yeah.
I think Dearden and Drinkwater are standouts.
Yeah.
If everyone else in the side tried as hard as they did, they might have been playing this week.
Well, Kenty, I've heard their cap is in big trouble, and I've heard a story about one of their players.
We'll do share.
Drinkwater, maybe leaving the club. Let's
To
keep
get the
moving.
cap under control.
Yep.
Well, so they still got that bloody Taumalolo contract going.
Yep.
Like that was the worst decision ever made.
Yeah. At the time, anyway.
No, at the time it was stupid.
Yeah.
I said at the time it was stupid. You're paying $1 million a year for 10 years, essentially, for a middle forward. He's a middle forward. They play 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just the money spent in the wrong area.
Yeah.
I don't know how they fell into paying for that. That's no slide on Taumalolo. He's doing what his job always was. And to expect a player after 10 years of playing in the middle and the wear and tear that takes on your body to still be producing at the same rate,
Doesn't happen.
And the thing about that, when Todd Payton recognised that and tried to start resting him, everyone blew up.
Yep.
Everyone blew up, and you go, mate. You can't drive a Ferrari like a Land Cruiser. It's got to be treated.
Let it purr.
Carefully.
Let it purr. Mood FM says, "What do you think the media? Do you think the media are relatively silent on the Raiders choking?"
I don't think they choked.
No, not at all.
I think they probably outsmarted themselves against the Broncos. They tried to put the game to bed too early in the game.
Okay, good point. Yep.
Okay, they stopped playing just to try and we've got this game won.
Yep.
That's where they made their mistake. And I thought last week, all their shots had been fired the week before. They just, for whatever argument you want to mount, they could not get their energy up to match Cronulla's.
Which referee do you choose for the grand final? That's from.
I think it'll be Klein. I try not to pay too much attention to referees, to be honest, but I'm sure there's going to be a blow up though.
Yep. Jack Smith says, with what's gone on at Manly with Turbo, why hadn't South got the balls to do it with Trell?
I think they'd seen him differently. I think Latrell has had a. I think he's received a pretty stern talk after this season, Latrell. I think he's been told he's got to figure out whether he wants to be a footballer or a farmer. This whole thing of playing and then taking off to the farm for 3 or 4 days like he's been doing, I think the club have finally had enough of that, and they're trying to put the little bit of a fire under him.
Well, not so long. A couple of weeks
contractually,
ago.
they haven't done that, but I think certainly from Wayne Bennett's point of view, I think Wayne has realised how important he is to the team, and he's that mission has begun.
A couple of weeks ago, you heard that he might be done.
I think that's part of, I heard that he himself is kind of lacking motivation a little bit, which is, I think, where the Wayne comment of football or farmer has come from, because they're trying to figure out, mate, if you're either all in, you're all out.
To be a professional footballer, you do need to do that. Kenty, Luke James asked, were you on board with James Graham on Sunday, who went off about Ashley Klein, the sim-billing of Dylan Edwards?
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Mate, it was... You know what? I think it was a professional foul. Okay, I think the hands
pretty soft though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they don't.
Doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's the point. People go, "Oh, it was soft." I think it was because it was so early in the game. I think Klein is really struggling in big calls. I think his confidence is shot as a referee. I wouldn't have gone off quite like Jimmy Graham did.
Yeah,
but I think he had a point. The hands were on Kickow. And not that he gave him a shove, but certainly they were on him, and Kickow did overrun the ball with Edwards' hands on him.
Yeah.
And I think from that point of view, that's it. And it's a professional foul. And the professional foul is not how hard it was. The professional foul is, did it happen, yes or no? It's a black and white decision. But I think he lost his nerve. Yeah.
Yep. A couple more. Tony Lowens is a cricket follower. He says, "Why is cricket shit now?" I mean, I abbreviated that, but
Well, I don't know, mate.
too many games.
It's far too many games for me.
Yeah.
The games are meaningless now. There's all these 1 days and 2020s, and then they're putting so much of this stuff jamming into the calendar. You're not getting full test series out like you used to get out, and there's no build up because you're watching some other rubbish game.
Yeah, well, we've got a cricket pod coming out soon, so
Yeah.
maybe they'll explain it.
Yeah, well, come back here when you don't want to watch it.
All right, last question.
Good.
Anua Mufulala says, that's not how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going to say. Broncos buyers, what are your thoughts on the Broncos selecting the all-black jersey to face the Panthers this weekend? Panthers got to wear pink.
Oh, they'd be rubbing their nose in, wouldn't it? I don't mind that idea, actually. But might make it a bit confusing, but I did like the jersey. I think that's the jersey of the season, that one. That one and the Cowboys one. I liked the blue and, I don't know, it was yellow or lime green one for the Cowboys. But I like that one. Yeah, go for it. I think they'll run out in the maroon, though.
All right, Kenty, well, that's it for us. Wednesday, I need to sleep. You're going to go off to darts.
Off the darts, mate.
Yeah? How'd you go last week?
That's
a loaded question.
Play the only team we've beaten all year.
Oh, you must have won then.
No, they beat us 11-1.
Very good. All right, guys, that's it for us. Until tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.